All right, welcome back. We're talking about the coronavirus in Nigeria, and we're going to be looking at, its financial impacts and the economy generally. We're already hearing talks about a lot of countries around the world going into recession. I think Australia had a record of the longest run without going into recession in the world. I think the last time they went into recession was about 1992 or so. I'm not sure exactly. But even Australia, we're hearing, might be going into a recession because of the coronavirus. And of course, Nigeria just came out of one in 2017. Doesn't mean we're going to be going back into that. And what does this mean for the average Nigerian? I'm going to be joined now by Timi Olagunju, a public affairs analyst, to help us look at, employees, entrepreneurs, and the economy. Timi, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you doing?
Well, very well. Been locked down, socially distanced from everybody, and thankfully still very okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I will talk about, the economy. Nigeria is basically shut down at the moment. And I say Nigeria because if Lagos is shut down, we know Nigeria is shut down because this is the economic and the commercial nerve center of the nation. We've heard reports about markets being able to open between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know what that does for the economy, but how are things looking for Nigeria?
Well, to be frank with you, this firstly is a global pandemic. However, irrespective of the fact that it is a global pandemic, it particularly affects countries, as it were. And in the context of countries, you will see that every country has developed some sort of variation to the approach that works for it in this context. And so Nigeria, as it were, had seemingly also adopted some approach to dealing with the issue, one of which includes trying to convey information about the situation, albeit not effectively, frankly, because if you have conversations, perhaps on phone, with people that are family members, perhaps people in the villages and all that, you might come to a conclusion that the information dissemination seems to be among a certain elites, as it were, in terms of information communication. There are two different things, so in context, there's been a lot of information, but less communication. Secondly is the fact that you see the issue of, like you mentioned, the economy, as it were, right? And the truth about it is the COVID-19 situation places within governments the delicate balance, or the trying to create a delicate matrimony between two important issues, health and well-being and the economy, or survival of people, as it were, economically. I would say, frankly, that we're not doing a good job with that because, if NEPA can bring NEPA bill to your houses and LOMA can come clear your dustbins in your houses, I don't see why agencies should not deliver food or food stamps to people in their houses. So we need to do more. But in terms of the NDC, CDC's approach to it, they're doing what is within their capacity. But as the conversation goes on, I'm sure we'll be able to delve deep into these issues.
There's a lot of talk about, stimulus plans. America has approved $2 trillion to sort of stimulate the economy when all of this is over. We have so many countries that are, making monies available to help the economy not crumble pretty much when all of this is over. Nigeria, money has been allocated to fight the virus. We don't know what the plan is yet, for the economy. And most people are saying that that might be even a bigger killer than the virus itself for Nigerians when this is done. I don't know what you think about this.
Yeah, that's an important question, because the context of the issue now is between health maintenance in terms of ensuring that the health and well-being of people is being catered for, and then what will be the after effect. And the way we manage the situation now will determine the after effect of what happens consequently. So we can have different scenarios. First scenario, we could have a situation where governments will be able to handle and manage the situation effectively, but then we end up in an intense and serious economic crisis. The second scenario is the possibilities for government to be able to handle the situation effectively, and then we also ensure that we have some sort of plan or workout plan towards economic resurgence or revival. This is not the first time something of this nature is happening. We've had the World War, although at that time Nigeria had not really gained its independence. but we're part of that global situation or crisis, as it were. And we can learn from these things in the context of the fact that if you look at it carefully, the current approach that we are taking might end up in deeper recessions than we can ever imagine. And the reason is simple. There is the policy approach of the government. I've taken time as a policy consultant to study through the policy approach of the government in terms of the lockdown, in terms of the way the testing is done, in terms of communicating to the people about what needs to be done. And frankly speaking, there is a challenge with the approach as it regards economic survival of the country. Look, let's be frank with ourselves. We say lockdown, lockdown. Yes, it is good, but Nigeria needs to look inward and stop copycats approach policies. We need to look inwards and see, in these 2 weeks of lockdown, what has been the effect of it on the healthcare or in terms of the spread of the virus, as it were. Before we now conclude whether we need to extend this lockdown, because I'm hearing certain alleged rumors that there's a possibility for an increase in the number of weeks or days for lockdown. And that doesn't work. Evidence is the end of argument. We need to drive an evidence-driven approach to whatever we do. So at the end of the 2 weeks, or before the end of the 2 weeks, I believe that the Office of Bureau of Statistics and other offices involved in issues of evidence-based policy can begin to look back and say, okay, in this 1 week plus, does the evidence support a need for lockdown, or do we need to really intensify our communication on social distancing? Because you see, Nigerians are not driven towards not being socially mingling. You have a lockdown, but in the streets, for example, you see people gather together in clusters, having conversations, right? So we have a situation where we begin to have community spread of the issue. So I think the emphasis in terms of policy making should be evidence-driven policy, as well as intensified communication. The Ministry of Information should stop being just a tool for...
Timi, can you hear me? Timi, just quickly, just in one sentence or two sentences, very quickly, because we need to go. What do you think should be done with regards to the economy? Very quickly, very quickly.
So in terms of the economy, there are two parts to it. Firstly is the public sector. The second is the private sector. In terms of the economy, continuous advocacy for lockdown without evidence-driven approach will not work. So we need to know if it works for us. Secondly, in terms of communication, we need to...
Okay. Oh, I think we lost Timi there, unfortunately, as he was giving us the solutions today. But just on the final note now, Doctor, if you please, just final thoughts on all of this, because like I said, it seems like every time we have conversations about the virus anywhere in the world, people still have even more questions to ask. Yeah. But just wrap it up for us, please.
Yeah, so this is a pandemic, as you heard Timi just say, look, it has effects on everything. Now, whether, like I said, our situation may be different, whether the lockdown, whether the lockdown, lifting lockdown and helping the economy will be better for us or not is another thing entirely. Yeah. If we do have a massive outbreak of this virus in the country, even in the rural areas,
the economy will be hit anyways.
Hit anyways, and it may take us way, way longer to recover than that. So I agree with you, a lot of thought needs to go into this, not just at high level, but at individual levels about how much everybody can contribute to contributing. Because if it does get out of hand, it has the potential to be truly devastating.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor, for spending the entire day with us. I mean, thank you for all you're doing, and all you and your colleagues and all of those in the front lines who are helping us battle this disease, this virus that a lot of us still don't understand. Yeah, I mean, most times I think people wake up and they're wondering, is this really happening? Yeah. Is this really the new world that we're going to be living in? But hopefully we conquer this and, keep doing what you do.
Thank you.
But like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Rubbing Minds now is the handle. Please use the hashtag Reminds when you tweet at us. Please stay at home. Please obey the government. Please stay safe. And we can beat this together. I'll see you next Sunday.